Now at 9, why some Joplin-based injury lawyers are taking legal action against each other. Plus, Spire Utilities has a caution concerning some untrue social media claims about ways to avoid a utility bill. And the Miami Public Library unveils a new children's mural. We'll tell you about the artist and the inspiration.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Dow Quick. A battle between 2 law offices is happening in Jasper County. A Joplin-based personal injury attorney is taking legal action against his former colleagues after they filed a petition against him. In the beginning of this month, Shelley Dreyer and Keegan Tinney sued Charles Stickland, accusing him of not sharing attorney's fees and reimbursement of costs from the time they worked together. Later in the month, another petition was filed, this time by Stickland. Shelley Dreyer and Keegan Tinney resigned from Stickland's firm in February of this year. According to the latest court document, Dreyer and Tinney allegedly transferred more than 90 client files from Charles Stickland's office. KOAM's Fernandez Silva has details.
Thank you, Dow. That's right. According to court documents, Shelley Dreyer began working at Stickland Law Firm in 2014. Keegan Tinney began in 2018. In the beginning of this month, Dreyer and Tinney attorneys submitted a petition wanting the division of attorneys' fees in reimbursement of costs of Dreyer and Tinney's clients. These clients were previously working with Stickland's firm. The court documents of July 6 says that the parties did not have an agreement as to how attorneys' fees would be divided in the event of dissolution of the firm. Less than a week later, attorneys for the Stickland's law firm filed a petition that the lawsuit be dropped. They also countersued Dreyer's and Tinney's, accusing them of physically removing files and documents from the firm's office during the night when Stickland was out of town in February 2023. The lawsuit states that Dreyer emailed herself clients' names and personal information, including medical records and other sensitive material. Stickland accuses Dreyer and Tinney of intentionally delaying cases and informing clients and prospective clients that Stickland was too busy or would not be the best attorney to work in their cases. Stickland alleges their goal was to divert clients' money, data, and property from his firm to their new law firm, taking, quote, as many clients as they could with them to help ensure financial success of their new firm, end quote. Stickland is asking for $5 million. KOAM contacted all parties involved for comment. Stickland's attorneys declined to comment. Dreyer and Tinney's attorneys said they followed all Missouri law and ethical procedures with the former law firm.
Dreyer has previously faced similar allegations. In 2012, Dreyer had a judgment against her in a lawsuit involving a St. Louis area law firm. You can find the full statement in this case, plus accusations and the complete court documents on our website. Of course, that's KOAMnewsnow.com. Columbus, Kansas authorities today are dealing with a suspicious device. Authorities say around 11 this morning, demolition crews found a suspicious-looking device at 1212 West Maple Street.
KHP bomb squad and Kansas State Fire Marshal's office initially we secured the area, didn't allow anybody in. But after they obtained some more additional information, they deemed that we could just open up the streets and they don't feel there's a huge threat.
Authorities say the device resembled a pipe with a bottle cap on one end. Downtown Joplin was packed tonight for this month's third Thursday. This month's theme was Downtown Waterfest. Featured a variety of water activities for kids and adults to help people beat the heat. There was also live music, vendors, and food trucks.
I think it's good. I really do. It gets people out like me. I live alone. And it gives people that make things time to celebrate. So I think it's a good thing.
Third Thursdays happen every month through October. Looks like fun. The Neosho County Fair is in full swing. Activities today kicked off with an opening ceremony, also a royalty coronation. 4-H members from all over Neosho County also participated in rocketry and robotics, Cloverbud Conference, and sheep judging.
I like just being here, hanging out with friends. I like walking in the show ring, showing. It's a lot of fun. Taking care of my animals, just It's a fun environment.
Tomorrow, 4-H members will show swine, rabbits, and goats. That fair runs through Monday. There were several activities today at the Miami, Oklahoma Public Library, one of which was the creation of this rock snake. It started with someone painting the head of a snake onto a rock. Then members of the public were invited to come out and paint their own rocks to add to the snake. The library today also unveiled this new mural. The mural depicts various Ottawa County towns and landmarks, including Route 66. It was painted by Jessica Stout, who participated in a short Q&A with kids after the unveiling to talk about her inspiration for the design.
Listen to the client who wants me to paint for them. I really listen to their ideas and try to figure out what their goals are in the art. Then I spend a lot of time just thinking, brainstorming, communicating with them. Then I just kind of put the whole design together and improvise as I go along.
The mural is in the Kids Connection area of that library. And after the mural unveiling, the library held this magic show for the kids. They invited comedy magician Kevin Wade to wow the students with a big variety of tricks. As more and more people sign up for Meta's new Threads app, the Better Business Bureau office in Springfield is warning people to watch out for scams surrounding it. One tip, if you get a message from another user, make sure they're legit and not an imposter. Also, double check any links you're about to click on and watch out for phishing scams through emails, texts, or messages claiming to come from Threads, Instagram, or Meta.
You sign into Instagram, you're prompted if you want to go ahead and sign up for Threads, or you download the app directly from your app store. You don't have to go to a separate link. So if someone sends you an email that says this is how you sign up for Threads, you know it's a phishing scam.
Spire Energy is putting some misinformation to rest about bill payments. Officials say there are videos on TikTok and other social media platforms showing people claiming to be finance experts with tips, they say, to get out of paying your utility bills. The videos recommend sending strange documents with certain flags and seals. Spire says they've been receiving these documents from customers in Missouri, but they want people to know they are not legit.
These posts are absolutely untrue. You know the saying that if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is, and that's the case here. And it's really upsetting for us because in most cases, these customers are struggling to pay their bill. And so by them taking these tactics, it's really just delaying them potentially getting any assistance or going on a payment arrangement to help out.
Yeah, Spire says if you need assistance paying your bill, talk to them. They do have those programs to help. Coming up, we're going to hear from some health experts about how to manage migraines during these hot summer months. It's estimated that at least 39 million Americans live with migraine attacks. That's according to the American Migraine Foundation. And health experts say extremely hot weather can not only make these painful headaches happen more often, but can also cause them to be more severe. Mandy Gaither has more on how to manage migraines in the heat.
Changes in barometric pressure, extremely high temperatures, and the threat of dehydration.
Put that all together, and patients who suffer from migraines will suddenly see an increase in headache or migraine frequency during these events.
Dr. Ahmad Estamalik with Cleveland Clinic says those with constant chronic migraines will most likely require daily medication, injections, or a procedure. But for those who get them less frequently, you can manage migraines by knowing your triggers and avoiding them. And stay hydrated. Estamalik says that alone may eliminate the possibility of a migraine. Finally, turn to rescue medicine as soon as symptoms start. But he cautions not to take those medications too many times a week.
We usually recommend no more than 2 to 3 times, just because for those patients who have migraines, they run the risk of developing what we call rebound headaches if they use abortive medications too often.
And if you're struggling with heat-related migraines, Estamalik says to seek care.
The disorder, despite being very, very prevalent, remains underdiagnosed, misdiagnosed, and often undertreated as well. So again, patients don't need to suffer. Talk to your healthcare provider, your neurologist, or your headache specialist, because there's a lot out there that can make a difference.
For Health Minute, I'm Andy Gay.
Researchers say law enforcement could be doing more to curb underage drinking. The findings in the Journal of Studies on Alcohol and Drugs indicate that enforcement of underage drinking laws dropped significantly from 2010 to 2019. The authors say agencies are self-reporting that they're not acting on possession laws as much as they used to, or using retail compliance checks as often. Study says agencies could do more, especially by focusing on the suppliers who provide alcohol to minors. Finding me time can be a struggle as a parent, but there are some tips on how you can fit it in this summer. Psychologist Susan Albers with the Cleveland Clinic says me time for parents is a necessity in order to not feel overwhelmed and stressed. To find time for yourself, she recommends making a list of things getting in the way and coming up with possible solutions. Dr. Albers says solutions might include reducing the amount of time you spend on social media or just waking up earlier. Doug is next with a complete look at the forecast, and later the Pitt State women's basketball team will soon head to Spain. John Dales will explain why in sports.
Well, of course, another hot one for us today, but a little bit better than what we've seen over the past couple days, which we will definitely take. And it's turned out to be a nice evening. It looks great. Indigo Sky Casino and Resort, of course, Indigo, just southwest of Seneca, Missouri. It's been pretty quiet through the afternoon into the evening hours. Still warm. Look at this, upper 70s, lower 80s across the region. We can go outside, 7th and Range Line, currently sitting at 83. Still feels like 89 with that humidity. The dew point sitting at 74. Anytime it gets above 70, it gets kind of soupy out there. Not a whole bunch going on here, but we are tracking storms to the west. Look at this big complex right across western parts of Kansas. This is heading toward us, but the heaviest is going to track south of us. At least we'll get a little bit of rain, but it's not going to be super heavy, but we'll take whatever we can get. So we're going to go through the night. We're going to stop at about 5:30 in the morning. You can see showers starting to increase in our western counties. Look where the big thunderstorms go. So mainly south of Veneta, south of Grand Lake. But still, we're going to get some lighter showers across the region. Northern counties, not much. But you can see south of I-44, that's where we're going to have moderate to at least some stronger storms once you get into northwestern Arkansas. Light showers continue. Here's 10:30 in the morning. Then once we get to about the noon hour, any showers we have out there will start to dissipate and head off toward the east. So rain chances increase 5, 7, 9 a.m. and then will slowly decrease as we go through the day. So rain's out of here in the afternoon. Temperatures, upper 70s to near 80. It's pretty good after we were 101 yesterday for an afternoon high. Let's go into Saturday morning. Cooler. We start near 60. And then once we get into Saturday afternoon, high temps, a little bit warmer, upper 80s to near 90 degrees. Now, check this out. Some isolated thunderstorms trying to work into our northern counties by Saturday evening. So we are going to have some isolated thunderstorms out there Saturday evening into Sunday morning. But at least temperature is looking pretty good as we go through the next couple days. All right, rainfall amounts, the heaviest, of course, northeast Oklahoma, northwest Arkansas. That's where areas can pick up half an inch, maybe an inch. Once you get to Joplin north, we're looking at 1/10 of an inch, maybe a little bit less. But again, we'll definitely take whatever we can get. Day planner, some scattered thunderstorms in the morning. High temp only right around 80, maybe 81 degrees in our southern counties. Now, as we go down the road, the heat starts to kick back in. Sunday, mid-90s. Some scattered showers on Monday, upper 90s by the time we get into Monday. And then here comes the triple-digit heat once again for us next week. 80 tomorrow. 89 Saturday, hit and miss, little isolated storms over the weekend. 98 Monday, triple digit heat all next week. Dow?
Thanks, Doug. Registration is now open for the 2023 Maple Leaf Parade in Carthage. The parade has been a long-standing tradition. That parade for the Carthage Chamber of Commerce started in 1966. The festival itself is going to take place from October 13th to October 21st, with various activities through the week. This year's theme, There's No Place Like Home. You can register to join the parade by going to our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Coming up, an American detained overseas.
The family of the American soldier who crossed into North Korea on Tuesday says he's a good person who made a big mistake. I'm Greg Pelka in London. That's my story. Coming up.
New home construction in the U.S. fell 8% last month. Housing starts dropped to a seasonally adjusted annual rate of 1.43 million. That's below economists' expectations. The June cool-off was quite a turnaround from May's surprising surge. That came as low inventory in the existing home market continued to boost interest in new homes. Just 1% of all U.S. homes have changed hands so far this year. That's according to data from Redfin, and it represents the lowest figure in at least a decade. The company info showed only about 14 out of every 1,000 existing homes moved from one owner to another in the first half of 2023. In 2019, it was 19 out of every 1,000 homes. Experts believe the rate should be closer to 40 or 50 homes out of every 1,000 in an active market. Across the United States, crippling temperatures are projected to remain above average throughout next week. Gloria Pazmino shows us how this historic heat wave could impact our wallets and our health.
There are going to be massive impacts that will only eventually show up in employment, GDP, public health statistics.
As more Americans crank up the AC, it is projected that home energy costs are going to increase this summer. One analyst expects costs to jump nearly 12%. In some areas, low-income families who don't have this option could face potentially fatal temperatures. For workers in weather-exposed industries, federal safety rules do require employers to provide workplaces free of known safety and health hazards, including the heat. Target has changed its dress code to allow most employees to wear shorts and says other policies for those working in extreme heat include water and rest breaks.
There's sort of high-tech or low-tech ways of adjusting.
Climate economist Gernot Wagner says when the temperatures get this high, the bottom line is always going to be impacted.
Productivity through the economy goes down, especially when we hit certain thresholds.
But the primary concern remains on the health and safety of workers.
At the end of the day, extreme temperatures literally kill. That, of course, is the ultimate impact.
Dozens of deaths this year are being investigated as potentially heat-related in Maricopa County, Arizona, where a new record was just set for the most days at or above 110 degrees. I'm Gloria Pasmino reporting.
Up next, we're going to take a look at an interesting catch by an Oklahoma boy over the weekend. An Oklahoma boy got an unusual bite on his lure while fishing in a neighborhood pond over the weekend. He reeled in a pacu, a South American fish closely related to the piranha with those weird human-like teeth. Wildlife officials posted these pictures on social media. They say the exotic fish was likely someone's unwanted pet that was dumped in the pond when it got too big for the tank. Pacu can get really big. They can reach 3.5 feet in length. They can weigh nearly 90 pounds. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. Some Pittsburgh citizens get together to discuss issues surrounding the homeless population. Plus, a court ruling that impacts an effort to expand abortion rights in Missouri. Pittsburgh area citizens came together tonight as part of a grassroots effort to address the issue of homelessness in the community. It was a packed house this evening as residents gathered at the Pittsburgh Reese Nichols office for a meeting to discuss the issues. Representatives from various organizations that help the homeless gave presentations on the services they provide, and members of the public participated with Q&A sessions. Organizers say the goal of the meeting was to educate the community and help residents understand what can be done to support local people struggling with homelessness.
Everybody talks to all their friends, neighbors, kind of passing by coffee to coffee. but we're not getting together and talking about it. If we're not getting together and talking about it, then we don't have proper solutions to the situation.
Business owners, property owners, and concerned citizens were all invited to attend that meeting. The Missouri Supreme Court orders Attorney General Andrew Bailey to stand down on abortion cost dispute. The Missouri Supreme Court wants him to allow an initiative petition to legalize abortion in the state to move forward. Supreme Court justices unanimously affirmed a lower court's decision that Bailey must approve the cost estimate provided by the auditor. Kansas Attorney General Chris Kobach wants to keep transgender people from intervening in his lawsuit over state IDs. It's in his state lawsuit against changing the sex listings on their state driver's licenses. His efforts already will be blocking any further changes into at least November. 5 transgender residents represented by the state's American Civil Liberties Union chapter are asking a district judge to allow them to intervene. Kobach today said he's opposing their request, and the judge plans to rule on it after an August 16th hearing. The Senate Judiciary Committee is considering ethics rules for the U.S. Supreme Court. It comes in the wake of several revelations about justices' interactions with wealthy donors and other potential conflicts of interest. The legislation would impose new ethics rules and a process to enforce them, including transparency around recusals, gifts, and other ethical dilemmas. Republicans and Democrats are divided on that issue. The family of U.S. Army Private Travis King, detailed in North Korea after crossing the border, says he's a good guy who made a big mistake. Fox News senior foreign affairs correspondent Greg Palcott has more from London.
I think something wrong with him. He ain't thinking clear.
Pyongyang is staying silent, but on Thursday we heard from the family of the U.S. Army soldier being detained in North Korea. 23-year-old Private Travis King ran across the border during a tour on Tuesday, just days after being released from a South Korean prison where he served 2 months for assault. His grandfather says both actions are out of character for King, who joined the Army because he was drawn to service and wanted a better life for himself.
He never acted like that. Travis is a nice guy. He really is. He's one of my best grandkids.
The family is now speculating that King might be sick or possibly suffering from a mental health disorder. And while heightened tensions between Washington and Pyongyang make a fast return unlikely, they're hoping he'll soon get the help he needs.
I know he's in a real bad place, a bad situation, and I'm hoping that they let him come home and he'll be back around his mama or get him some help.
But North Korea isn't giving any details about King's condition or even whether he's in custody. Some are speculating that his border crossing might have been a defection. And now the U.S. Special Envoy for North Korea is in the region, pressing Pyongyang for information and trying to secure King's release.
We're working very hard to ascertain information regarding his well-being and are actively engaging to ensure his safety and return.
The White House says it's now working through the Swedish embassy in North Korea to find out more about King's detention. In London, Greg Palcott, Fox News.
A bit later, Mother Nature not letting up.
Dangerous weather gripping the nation, from brutally hot temperatures to life-threatening flash flooding and even tornadoes. I'm Max Gordon in Mayfield, Kentucky. All of the latest coming up.
Well, of course, another hot one for us today, but a little bit better than what we've seen over the past couple days, which we will definitely take. And it's turned out to be a nice evening. It looks great. Indigo Sky Casino and Resort, of course, Indigo, just southwest of Seneca, Missouri. It's been pretty quiet through the afternoon into the evening hours. Still warm. Look at this, upper 70s, lower 80s across the region. We can go outside, 7th and Range Line, currently sitting at 83. Still feels like 89. With that humidity, the dew point sitting at 74. Anytime it gets above 70, it gets kind of soupy out there. Not a whole bunch going on here, but we are tracking storms to the west. Look at this big complex right across western parts of Kansas. This is heading toward us, but the heaviest is going to track south of us. At least we'll get a little bit of rain, but it's not going to be super heavy, but we'll take whatever we can get. So we're going to go through the night. We're going to stop at about 5:30 in the morning. You can see showers starting to increase in our western counties. Look where the big thunderstorms go, so mainly south of Veneta, south of Grand Lake. But still, we're going to get some lighter showers across the region. Northern counties, not much. But you can see south of I-44, that's where we're going to have moderate to at least some stronger storms once you get into northwestern Arkansas. Light showers continue. Here's 10:30 in the morning. Then once we get to about the noon hour, any showers we have out there will start to dissipate and head off toward the east. So rain chances increase 5, 7, 9 a.m. and then will slowly decrease as we go through the day. So rain's out of here in the afternoon. Temperatures upper 70s to near 80. It's pretty good after we were 101 yesterday for an afternoon high. Let's go into Saturday morning. Cooler. We start near 60, and then once we get into Saturday afternoon, high temps a little bit warmer, upper 80s to near 90 degrees. Now check this out. Some isolated thunderstorms trying to work into our northern counties by Saturday evening. So we are going to have some isolated thunderstorms out there Saturday evening into Sunday morning, but at least temperature is looking pretty good as we go through the next couple days. All right, rainfall amounts, the heaviest, of course, northeast Oklahoma, northwest Arkansas. That's where areas can pick up half an inch, maybe an inch. Once you get to Joplin north, we're looking at 1/10 of an inch, maybe a little bit less. But again, we'll definitely take whatever we can get. Day planner, some scattered thunderstorms in the morning. High temp only right around 80, maybe 81 degrees in our southern counties. Now, as we go down the road, the heat starts to kick back in. Sunday, mid-90s. Some scattered showers on Monday, upper 90s by the time we get into Monday. And then here comes the triple-digit heat once again for us next week. 80 tomorrow, 89 Saturday, hit and miss, little isolated storms over the weekend. 98 Monday, triple-digit heat all next week. Dow?
Thanks, Doug. Dangerous weather is gripping the nation, from brutally hot temperatures to life-threatening flooding, even tornadoes. Fox News' Max Gordon has the latest.
A tornado touching down in Rocky Mount, North Carolina Wednesday. The violent EF3 twister causing major damage with winds estimated at least 150 miles per hour. Roadways are closed due to the debris trail. A Pfizer manufacturing plant also hit, shearing off the roof and damaging thousands of pallets of medicine.
The roadways are unsafe. You have power lines down. We have an area where we have a gas leak, and we're just getting the interstate opened back up.
Neighboring Kentucky's weather worry, flash floods. The governor declaring a state of emergency Wednesday after heavy and potentially record-setting rain caused widespread flooding throughout the state. Parts of Kentucky still coping from a deadly tornado that ripped through the region less than 2 years ago, as nearly a foot of rain fell near Mayfield, turning roads into rivers and forcing folks from their homes.
There was a little bit of water. I was going to try to clean it up a little bit, and then it started gushing up through the toilets, started coming through the side walls, opened up the back door, and it started gushing inside the house.
But it's the brutal heat that won't stop, impacting millions of Americans in nearly a dozen states. Out west and across the south, triple-digit temperatures once again.
It is absolutely miserable. I get in the pool and it feels like a bathtub. At nighttime, it doesn't cool down, so there's no time to take walks with the family. It's been rough.
Back here in Kentucky, another round of showers and severe storms are once again expected. In Mayfield, Kentucky, Max Gordon, Fox News.
Coming up in sports, Pittsburgh American Legion Post 64 competes for a state championship. Plus, the Outlaws begin an important 3-game road set in Jefferson City. Highlights from those games and more coming up.
Pitt State women's basketball is doing something that most other colleges aren't allowed to right now, and that is practicing together as a team. That's because the Gorillas are getting ready for a team trip up to Spain coming up in a week and a half. Pitt State returns 3 all-conference players from last year's squad, didn't have any student athletes transfer out of the program, and added a new assistant coach in Jacob Rourke. And head coach Amanda David is hoping her group makes this extra time together worthwhile.
It's just an amazing opportunity. Actually, we've talked a little bit about that. Just that our girls, we need to get as much out of this 14 days that we get to be together as possible. Just because the people in our community have really invested in our program, and we feel like we need to honor that. And so we're really excited about the opportunity to have these days to prepare for the upcoming year with 4 new freshmen, a new assistant. We need to get as much out of it as we can.
In local baseball, the American Legion Kansas 3A state tournament is taking place right now. And today, Pittsburgh Post 64 hosts Post 239 from Overbrook. The Patriots of Post 64 taking on the Bombers from Overbrook. And we start this one out in the first inning when Connor Vambaclair keeps this ball fair down the line. That will bring in a run. RBI single for him as Noah Duncan comes in to score. Patriots take an early 1-0 lead. We go ahead to the third. That's where Overbrook goes on a big scoring run. First, the pitcher, Brody Gleason, helps his own cause with that RBI double. That made it a 5-1 Overbrook lead. Next batter, Bryce Torkelson singles into left field. That's an RBI and puts Overbrook up 6-1. But the Patriots not going down without a fight. To the top of the fourth, 6-2 game, and this wild pitch gets away. Ethan Rode comes in to score. Pittsburgh has cut the deficit in half down to 6-3. Top of the fifth, 7-3 Overbrook when Vambaclair again, this time, clears the wall for a solo homer. Pittsburgh getting way back into it. 7-4 at that point. Rally wasn't enough though. The Overbrook Bombers go on to win it over the Pittsburgh Patriots 9-4. Meanwhile, very important night in the Mink League as well. Just a few days left until the playoffs. The first place Joplin Outlaws beginning a 3-game set against the second place Jeff City Renegades on the road. And as I mentioned, huge 3-game set. Joplin in first place in the South. If they win 2 of these 3 over Jeff City, they get a first round bye. And this one, like a boxer's match. Outlaws throw the first punch in the first inning. Colton Reynolds crushes that ball to deep left center. 2-run homer in the very first inning. Outlaws take a 2-0 lead. But the Renegades, well, they would punch back. Big second inning for Jeff City. Cam Durnan smokes one into left. That's a base hit. That set the stage for Charlie Rogan later in the inning with 2 runners on. Rogan puts one into play. An error over at short allows 2 runners to score and tie the game at 2. The Renegades would then take the lead. Base is loaded for Luke Matchner, and he's going to deliver. Sneaks this one past the shortstop's glove for another run. Renegades score 4 in the inning. Outlaws would come back, though. They score 6 in the third. Back and forth game. Joplin takes an 8-7 lead into the ninth. Meanwhile, over in Chicago, the Cardinals' hot streak continues. Redbirds lead the Cubs 7-2 late in the 7th. Wilson Contreras got things started early in his return to Wrigley. RBI double for him off the wall in the 4th. If the Cards hang on, it'll be their 6th consecutive victory, tied for the longest streak in baseball. That's it for sports. Back with more news after this.
Congress could pass an amendment requiring the government to disclose what it knows about UFOs. This time it's backed by a big name in the Senate who says it's time to change the stigma on unidentified flying objects, and he wants to attach it to the nation's defense spending. Fox News correspondent Lauren Blanchard is in Washington with more.
We may not be alone, and Congress wants more information on what's out there. Once a fringe idea, now backed by high-ranking Senate Leader Chuck Schumer. He and Senator Mike Rounds are hoping to pass an amendment to the 2024 NDAA, or the National Defense Bill, that would create more transparency around UAPs, or Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena, the formal government name for UFOs.
Sunlight is the best disinfectant. And there are lots of theories floating around about what has happened with UAPs.
Bipartisanly backed, the UAP Disclosure Act would require the National Archives to gather government records on UAPs and disclose what's in them, or justify why the documents need to remain classified.
It'll be very helpful for the American people to see exactly what's there, because otherwise there are all sorts of rumors flying around.
Even the White House admits UFOs are having an impact on America's fighter pilots and their training.
They're not sure what they are, and it can have an impact on their ability to perfect their skills.
Some pilots want to make it easier and less professionally risky to disclose UAP sightings.
There's objects that are flying around that are
behaving in ways that we don't understand how they perform. They're performing with characteristics that are faster and more maneuverable.
The GOP-led House Oversight Committee will hold a hearing with witnesses next week on UAPs. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
Coming up, how a nonprofit is helping people with disabilities learn to ride a bike again. You know that saying is just like riding a bike? Well, some people who are no longer able to ride are getting the opportunity again. That's thanks to a nonprofit in North Carolina. Lauren Schuster has details.
Remember your first bike ride? The wind blowing in your hair, the feeling of freedom. It's something Jill Wright used to cherish, but that suddenly ended.
After the stroke, I do nothing.
That stroke left her with serious mobility issues, but now she's back in the saddle again.
Today is really exciting to me. 20 years ago, I rode a bike.
Wright is riding an adaptive bike called a trike. It's similar to your typical two-person bike, but only one person is doing the work. Three Wheel Therapy is a nonprofit in Carolina Beach. They say the special bike is a game changer for those longing to ride once again.
The experience is ideal for anybody who is unable to ride a traditional bicycle. So that includes people with disabilities, aging adults, individuals who have low or poor mobility, or just are fearful of riding a bike.
Three Wheel Therapy is one of only 7 other organizations in the country that offer the experience. And riding a bike isn't something Wright ever thought she would do again, along with many other seniors who utilize Elder House Pace in Wilmington.
When I asked my participants if they would like to participate, they were floored. Instant smiles came to their faces and they couldn't wait for today.
Now, after 20 years, one may think Wright forgot that special feeling of the wind blowing in her hair. But as they say, it's just like riding a bike.
Today is a lovely day.
Looks like a lovely program. That's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We're going to leave you with video of a giant panda celebrating its lovely birthday. Wow, quite a cake there. Let's make it a great tomorrow.